The human body has always known how to mock the soul that lives within it. It crafts strange tricks, mysterious disorders that even modern medicine can only watch, in silence. Some of these syndromes are so bizarre, they not only test the edges of neuroscience, but open the door to tales so strange that to this day, no one has been able to explain them fully. Imagine waking up one day and your hand no longer obeys you. Or worse, you start to fear sunlight and crave fresh blood. Welcome to the realm of the world's strangest syndromes, where science takes a step back and the surreal imagination of the human brain takes over. And the first syndrome we invite you to discover is alien hand syndrome. One of the strangest and most unsettling conditions ever recorded in science. Unlike the haunting plagues that once swept across the pages of history, this syndrome doesn't come from bacteria, viruses, or poisons. It comes from within. A hand that suddenly becomes something else. This syndrome doesn't bring mass death. It doesn't plunge humanity into tragedy. Yet it ranks among the strangest conditions ever recorded, where even science seems powerless before the human body itself. Even its name, alien hand syndrome, raises more questions than answers. What does it mean to have an alien hand? To understand, search your own memory for a moment. Perhaps you've had those bizarre moments, when even you couldn't understand yourself, when your mind and your body seem out of sync. You search everywhere for your keys, your bag, your table, your drawers, only to find they were in your hand all along. Strange, isn't it? But this syndrome goes far beyond that, because it's not just forgetfulness. It's when part of your body moves, as if it has its own will, as if it no longer belongs to you. Imagine a peaceful weekend evening when everything around is quiet. You lie in bed, soft music playing in the dim space, and your beloved little cat is curled up next to you. Everything seems like a perfect moment. But then, in the blink of an eye, your right hand suddenly tightens around your neck. The warmth from earlier is gradually replaced by panic. The feeling of suffocation rises up your throat like a familiar horror movie scene. Except this time, it doesn't stop at the screen. The problem is, no one is doing it to you, except your own hand. A part of your body suddenly seems to be controlled by an alien intelligence. It tightens, as if it has its own will, as if it is no longer yours. In a moment of panic, you are forced to use all your remaining strength to pull that hand away from your neck. The relaxing evening suddenly turns into a real nightmare. And that is what science calls, with 3 strange words: hand syndrome, alien hand syndrome. According to scientists, this syndrome is a rare neurological disorder in which one arm becomes a stranger, completely out of control, as if the brain has severed its command line and surrendered its authority. The person affected lives in confusion, unable to recognize or understand their own movements. The arm no longer feels like part of their body, but a separate being, acting on its own, obeying no thought, no intention, as if someone else, unseen, were pulling the strings. Though this condition doesn't damage physical health, it quietly erodes the mind, bit by bit. The loss of agency over one's own body creates a deep sense of fear and disconnection. In daily life, it leads to bizarre, frustrating scenarios. The right hand lifts a slice of apple to the mouth, only for the left hand to snatch it away, as if rebelling, as if at war. A silent struggle between two hands, between the self and something else, living within the same shell. Even more disturbing are the cases where a person's own hand turns against them, slapping their face, choking their throat, or snatching away whatever they're holding. This bizarre syndrome was first documented in 1909, and since then, only around 40 to 50 cases have been properly diagnosed. But experts believe many more may have gone unnoticed, misinterpreted as signs of mental illness. Neurologists have found that most patients show damage in brain areas related to motor control and awareness. While the human brain still holds countless mysteries, one thing is clear. It is divided into two hemispheres, each governing a different side of the body. And when the connection between them breaks down, that's when things go wrong. That's when a hand starts acting like it belongs to someone else. Each hemisphere of the brain contains 4 distinct lobes, working together to shape our words, our actions, even our emotions. Among them, the frontal lobe is the command center. It controls movement, speech, decision-making, and impulse control. In many cases of alien hand syndrome, damage to this frontal region is often the key culprit. The brain functions like a supercomputer, but instead of wires and chips, it uses billions of delicate neurons. It gathers information from the senses, sight, sound, touch, and sends commands back out to the body. In a healthy person, the frontal lobe keeps everything in balance and under control. But when this system breaks down, the brain loses its grip, and part of the body may begin to act on its own. If this story made you pause and reflect, tap the heart to let us know you're listening. Drop a comment to share your thoughts. And don't forget to share this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next mysterious journey into the human body. From the frontal lobe, commands are sent out, racing down the motor nerves, the body's internal highway system for movement. And at the heart of it all lies the corpus callosum, the great bridge between the two hemispheres, ensuring that signals are transferred quickly and precisely. It may sound complex, but this entire process happens in just a split second. That's the rhythm of a normal brain. But for those with alien hand syndrome, the rhythm breaks. Their brains may have been damaged by strokes, seizures, or trauma. And when the neural pathways fail to connect as they should, control begins to slip away. Suddenly, a hand becomes foreign, moving with its own will, as if another mind has taken hold. Though this condition may not be fatal, it often leaves deep emotional scars, and few stories illustrate this better than that of Karen Byrne. Karen had lived with epilepsy for 17 long years, a disorder of the central nervous system that disrupts brain activity, causing seizures, strange sensations, and at times, brief losses of consciousness. Her first episode struck when she was just 10 years old, and as she grew older, the seizures grew more frequent, unpredictable, and relentless. Turning her life upside down, refusing to surrender, Karen made a bold decision: brain surgery. In this delicate procedure, doctors would remove a small portion of her brain believed to be the source of the abnormal signals, hoping to silence the storm within. Because of the severity of her condition, doctors decided to take a more drastic step. They severed the corpus callosum, the thick bundle of white matter that links the brain's two hemispheres. It's the bridge that allows the left side to know what the right side is doing, and vice versa. Typically, the left hemisphere dominates, making most decisions and guiding the body's actions. In most epilepsy cases, patients go on to live normal lives after this procedure. But Karen would become the exception. The surgery was a success. She awoke, alert, able to speak and respond to the medical team. The seizures seemed to vanish. Everything felt like it had gone right. Until one of the doctors noticed something strange. During what should have been a routine conversation, something strange began to unfold. Karen's left hand slowly started unbuttoning her shirt, as if it were being controlled by someone else. And the terrifying part? Karen knew it was happening. She felt ashamed, powerless, yet completely unable to stop it. Even when her right hand carefully rebuttoned the shirt, the left hand, like a spirit possessed, repeated the act again and again. It was as if two minds were living inside one body, each with its own will. Doctors rushed in. Something had gone wrong. Terribly wrong. Karen's left hand had become a rogue entity, disconnected from her conscious control. It began to lash out, tearing at her clothes in a fit of madness, leaving Karen in utter panic. It was as if a silent war for control had erupted inside Karen's mind. Doctors concluded that while severing the corpus callosum had successfully ended her seizures, it had also severed the crucial connection between her brain's hemispheres, leading to a cascade of bizarre behaviors. Tragically, there was nothing more they could do. In the years that followed, her rogue left hand continued to wreak havoc. When Karen lit a cigarette with her right hand, her left would reach up and snatch it away, snuffing it out. When she swore, her left hand would slap her across the face, like a stern teacher correcting a student. By the time she turned 55, life had become a daily struggle. Once again, Karen turned to doctors for help. Not for epilepsy this time, but for the relentless nightmare of her alien hand. Throughout her observation, doctors confirmed that Karen's left hand had slipped beyond her control. After countless tests and hours of analysis, scientists delivered a chilling conclusion. Karen was diagnosed with alien hand syndrome, a strange and haunting condition so rare that modern medicine can do nothing but observe in silence. Despite how far science and medicine have come, they still haven't cracked the mysterious labyrinth that is the human brain. And so, from battling epilepsy, Karen now found herself facing an entirely new struggle. A lifelong coexistence with a stranger inside her own body. But hers is not the only case to challenge reason. The vampire syndrome, a name that sounds like it belongs in horror fiction, has puzzled medical experts for decades. Not because of folklore, but because it's real, and far stranger than any story we've ever imagined. If this story made you pause and reflect, tap the heart to let us know you're listening. Drop a comment to share your thoughts. And don't forget to share this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next mysterious journey into the human body. When we think of vampires, images of shadowy beings, thirsting for blood, cursed with eternal life, instantly come to mind. Thanks to Bram Stoker's Dracula, that terrifying myth haunts generations. But the scariest part? Dracula wasn't pure fiction. Stoker admitted his inspiration came from a real man, Vlad the Impaler, a ruler who impaled thousands with brutal cruelty. Power, blood, and fear shaped a legend darker than myth. Even now, whispers persist, somewhere in the shadows. Beings that look human, drink blood to survive, never age, never die. If such a person walked into your life, would you even know? And then there's a disease that might just bring the vampire myth to life. It's called the vampire syndrome. A rare genetic disorder that can turn an ordinary person into someone who fears sunlight, whose skin burns under its rays, and who may even crave fresh blood. Sounds like horror fiction? Yet scientific evidence has revealed a shocking link between Dracula's legend and Porphyria, a disorder that disrupts the body's ability to metabolize red pigments. When the sun becomes your enemy, and your body hungers for the unthinkable, does myth really stay myth? What if science is finally starting to whisper the secrets of ancient darkness? But back then, the world saw bloodthirsty creatures only through the lens of legends and imagination. And so, scientific findings, those grounded in reality, barely caught anyone's attention. Yet one rare disorder might hold the key to the age-old myth of vampires: Porphyria, a metabolic disease caused by an imbalance in the production of heme, the red pigment crucial for blood. And its symptoms almost mirror those of the legendary vampire. Their skin becomes hypersensitive to sunlight. Just a touch can cause painful blisters or tissue damage. Their urine turns reddish to purplish, reminiscent of spilled wine in moonlight. Some even develop a strong aversion to garlic, just like the age-old tales suggest. Could it be that the sharpened fangs, the thirst for blood, the retreat from the sun, were never just figments of the imagination? On average, 1 out of every 200,000 people suffers from the symptoms of Porphyria. In cases where the father is affected, his son has up to a 25% chance of inheriting the disease. Like most other genetic disorders, children born to couples with close blood relations are at a significantly higher risk, especially in royal bloodlines. The second cause of the living dead syndrome is catalepsy, a strange fusion of epilepsy, schizophrenia, and other conditions affecting the central nervous system. When the patient experiences an episode, their entire body stiffens. Heartbeat and breathing gradually weaken. At that moment, they are no different from a corpse. This often led outsiders to mistake cataleptic patients in the middle of an intense seizure for being dead. Today, modern medicine has the knowledge and tools to accurately determine whether someone is alive or truly dead. However, in the past, people could only rely on outward signs to judge life or death. That's why many cataleptic patients were mistakenly buried alive and sometimes woke up underground. The outbreak stage of catalepsy could last for hours or even days, long enough for a funeral to be carried out. So when patients suddenly awoke, they were often mistaken for immortal vampires. Clearly, the vampire condition is one of the most terrifying afflictions known to humanity. As the disease worsens, patients may suffer from hormonal disorders, causing their nails to grow long and curl, and hair to sprout all over their body. In addition, the skin around the lips and gums becomes thinner and shrinks, causing the teeth to appear like wolf fangs. Because of this damage to the gums and skin, patients also bleed easily from the mouth. This easily brings to mind the terrifying image of blood-sucking vampires from folklore. In real life, the first documented case of a vampire was reported in the 1940s in England. That 29-year-old man named Neverhit murdered young girls and drank their blood to satisfy his twisted desires. The most recent recorded case involving this strange condition was that of two brothers, Simon and George Colin. Just hours after the elder brother was born, his mother noticed something strange. If this story made you pause and reflect, tap the heart to let us know you're listening. Drop a comment to share your thoughts. And don't forget to share this video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next mysterious journey into the human body. Simon's body temperature dropped suddenly, and the nurses had to warm him with a heat lamp. Then, burns appeared on his arms and near his eyes, looking like severe sunburns. At just 4 months old, Simon nearly died. His body temperature spiked dangerously due to his inability to sweat, leaving his parents terrified. As time passed, Simon appeared less and less like a normal child. By 6 months old, he still had no teeth. Doctors warned the family that their next child could also inherit the same syndrome. And tragically, that warning came true. Now, Simon and his brother Josh must stay indoors most of the time. When going outside, they must wear sunscreen, hats, and dark sunglasses. The vampire-like appearance of the two brothers makes them seem quite strange in the eyes of others. At first glance, you might think they're real-life vampires, with pale skin and long, sharp fangs. But fortunately, this condition doesn't affect their lives too severely. And perhaps vampires only exist in our fearful imagination, not as real creatures. In reality, those who suffer from this syndrome are truly unfortunate. They endure not only the pain of illness, but also the fear and rejection of those around them. Thankfully, remarkable advances in science and medicine have helped ease the suffering of those living with the vampire syndrome. Both of the conditions mentioned above make us question the boundary between body and mind, when actions beyond human control become part of one's reality. Though they are rare syndromes with low infection and mortality rates, unlike historic pandemics, they still leave deep psychological scars on those who suffer from them. Perhaps one day, the relentless advance of science and modern medicine will provide us with the exact key to cure these bizarre illnesses. The story of strange syndromes is far from over. Future discoveries will surely continue to challenge our understanding of the human body's mysteries. If the body is a machine, then who controls it? If the mind is the key, then where is the door? If you want to continue discovering untold mysteries, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell, because the next video might change the way you see the universe.